Yes, we have discussed that. Yes, yesterday we discussed about the structure of the Linux operating system. So whenever we install the Linux operating system, where exactly what data will be stored. So that is what we have discussed yesterday, the structure of the Linux operating system. Yes. So when we install the Windows OS, where it will get installed on a single drive, that is C drive. Uh, and when we install the Linux operating system, where it will get installed? Yes, on the slash. Yes, very nice. So the in Linux there is no drive letter. There is no drive letter concept in the Linux. Yes, whenever we install the Linux operating system, the Linux operating system will get installed on the slash, which is called root directory. Yes, a tree structure directory. So the tree structure directory contain many subdirectory. Like first in Windows C drive, then inside the C drive we have some folders, program file, this users, Windows. So like that we have many subdirectories. So we discuss what is where exactly what will be stored. So Linux OS will be there in slash. Slash contain many subdirectories like slash root, which contain root user created files and data. Who is root here? The administrator account here is called as with the name root. So slash root contain root user data, and rest of the users data will be there in slash home. Slash home is the home directory for all users, like in Windows users, here slash home. Then the slash boot directory contain Linux. Most important part of the Linux operating system is the Linux kernel. So Linux kernel, bootloader and bootable files will be stored in slash boot. So slash boot is the directory contain Linux kernel, bootable file and bootloader. Through this, using these three things, the boot directory will load the OS. So whenever we install the Linux OS and switch on the machine, from the switch on the machine to the login screen, the booting process takes place. So the booting process here means booting means loading of the OS will take place from boot directory. If the boot directory get corrupted, you will get a grub error on the screen. When you open the screen, what you will be getting black screen. On that left side it will be written grub greater than, that is called grub error. For that solution is we need to have bootable pen drive. Insert the bootable pen drive, then go to the rescue mode. Here it is rescue mode, in Windows safe mode. Then after that we have to reinstall the boot directory only. Then the OS will able to load it from the hard disk to the RAM. So these are the things we discussed. Yes, so these are the things we have discussed yesterday. So these are the subdirectories. So these are the subdirectories like we discussed yesterday. Bin slash bin contain commands which can be used by all users. Slash boot, bootable file, bootloader, and bootable files. Through this, load the OS. Slash dev contain hardware information. etc contain configuration file for the services. Then slash home directory for all users. Lib contain library file. Media is used to access the removable storage drives. Whenever we want to access removable storage device like USB, then mnt is used to access the new partition. Then MISC is a mount share directory for the NFS services through which we can use the sharing of the data similar to share folder. OPT contain third party install application. USR contain when we install our inbuilt application. Inbuilt application means which we are getting from the OS. So OS contain many application when we install the Linux OS, which we will do today. So whichever application we need to install it. So once we install the application, all our install application which we are installing from our OS will be stored in USR, which is called Unix System Resource or Unix Software Resource, similar to program file. Slash root is a home directory of root user. Who is root? Administrator account here. Yasbin contain commands which can be used by only root user. Root user can use all commands, whereas the normal users can use only the commands which are there in the bin and they cannot use yasbin. Then srv contain data for the services record, temporary content, temporary file. Last found directory will be created when we mount the partition with some directory. So that last found directory will be created when we mount our partition with the directory. So mounted directory contain last found directory, which contain the fragments or the information when our system shut down unexpectedly. So so due to what reason it has shut down, that fragments will be stored in the last found line. So by using the tool FCSK, when we repair it, what will happen? Again, again our OS will get normal and it will work normally. So once we repaired that, then our OS will function normally. Then the proc directory contain the hard disk memory. So the proc contain the information which will be stored on the RAM memory, not on the disk memory or hard disk memory. This contain what? This contain the information about the here. The proc is using the memory from where that information will be stored. Yes, and the sys will contain the information related to kernel, where contain the variable data such as the log files of the users. There are users activities will be stored in the where. So this is what we have discussed yesterday. So we have one more memory that is called swap memory. So which is used for logical memory or virtual memory, which is used to improve the system performance. Okay. So whenever we install the Linux operating system, we need to install our Linux operating system in how many partitions? In how many partition? Minimum 4 partition. One partition should be for slash, where our Linux OS will be stored. Slash boot directory through which it will load the OS. Then slash home and the swap. So these are the minimum partitions we need to create. 4 partitions based on our which type of servers you are configuring. So today we'll proceed with what? Linux installation. So before I proceed with the Linux installation, depending upon which type of servers you are going to configure, you have to create the partition. So yesterday we have discussed that in Windows, when we install the Windows OS, how many partitions or how many how, are on how many drives the OS installation of the Windows will be done? It can be done only on a single drive, that is C drive. So what is the advantage of that? It is easy to operate. But what is the disadvantage? In Windows, if one of the OS folder get corrupted, the entire OS will get affected. But in Linux, it is not like that. So that is the reason most of the servers are in Linux operating system. So when we are installing the Linux OS, we need to install our Linux OS minimum on how many partitions? You can create more than 4, but minimum you need to create how many partitions? 4 partitions. So which type of 4 partitions we need to create? So that depends on the our requirement, which type of server you are creating. Suppose if you are creating the server called user management server. So if you are creating the user management server, then what are the 4 partitions you have to create for user management server? If you are configuring, then you need to create the slash, one partition should be created, slash one partition should be created for the slash boot. So when we are doing the Linux OS installation, so these are the recommended things. When you are configuring your Linux operating system for configuring the user management server, then you need to create these 4 partitions: slash one partition, slash boot one partition, then slash home. So all the users data will be stored where? On the slash home. So slash home is compulsory. Then to improve the system performance, swap should be created. So in all the Linux partition, the common partition we need to create it slash and slash boot. These are the common two partitions. And rest of the two partition we need to select depending upon which type of server you are creating. Like if you are creating the user management server, important thing is here slash home. So we need to create minimum four partitions for Linux installation. One slash boot will be the common for all the Linux servers. Then, and to improve the system performance, these three will be common. So in all the Linux installation, these three partitions will be common: slash, slash boot, and swap. So these are the common partitions, three partition. And the fourth partition we need to select which type of server you are configuring. Like for user management, all the users data will be stored where slash home. So this is one type of server. Now suppose you want to create, no, you want to create database server. Suppose you want to create database server. If user based server means you will configure slash home. Now you want to configure what? Database server. So then then you need to create four partition: slash, slash boot, then slash temporary. So here main subdirectory will be what? Slash temp. So all your data will be stored here, and the remaining partition will be swap. So for user management, slash home has to be created. For database server, we need to create what? Slash temp. Now if you want to create the syslog server, now you want to create, so suppose syslog server. You want to create syslog server. You want to configure syslog Linux server. So now then the partitions will be slash, slash boot, uh, then slash var. Slash var contain all log files. So here this important. So remaining is what? Swap. So here in any Linux installation, common three partitions will be: one for slash, where our Linux OS will be there; then slash boot, which contain Linux kernel, bootable file, bootloader, through which it will load the OS. So when we install any OS, where it will be stored? On the hard disk. So when we switch on the machine, the OS has to be loaded from the hard disk to the RAM. When we start the machine, once we get the login screen, means the OS will be loaded on the RAM. So who will load the OS? Slash boot directory, which contain bootloader, bootable file, Linux kernel. So using this, it will load the OS. So actually what happens when we switch on the machine till you get the login screen? What is the background process happens? We will be discussing in one complete session will be there for that booting process. So that will be discussing. Today you just remember, whenever we switch on the machine, the booting process will be taking place with the help of the slash boot directory, which contain Linux kernel, bootable file, and bootloader. So booting process will be initiated by bootloader, and the booting is done through the under the control of the, or it will be done through the Linux kernel. The Linux kernel will load the bootable file through which the OS will get loaded. So all these three things will be there in the slash boot. So whenever we do install the Linux operating system, three common partitions will be slash, slash boot, and swap. So what is the use of the swap? We have a session called swap function. So today you just remember, whenever whenever we do the multiple tasks take the space. For each and every task, RAM memory is allocated, or RAM memory is required. So when we do the multiple task, and there is suppose no free space left out in the RAM, what happens? Our system will get slower and slower, and still you push one more task, the system will get crashed. So to avoid the system getting crashed when we do the multiple task, we have to create the, at the time of installation, swap partition. So it is called logical memory. So it is not a part of the OS. So swap is a logical memory. So what is the function of the logical memory? It will improve the system performance. How it will improve the system performance? Whenever we are doing the multiple task, when there is no free space in the left out in the RAM, the system generally will get hacked. The system will generally get hang or crash. So to avoid that, in Linux, when we are doing the installation, we will create one swap partition. Swap is called logical memory. It will take the space from the hard disk. So what is the role or work of the swap is that when we do the multiple tasks, so some task might have been completed, but still it might be occupying the space of the physical RAM. So those memories are called idle memory or sleeping memory. So what the swap will do, it will never do the task of the RAM, but it will create the free space to the RAM by taking the inactive and sleeping memory. So that it will create the free space in the RAM, so which will help in system doing the multiple tasks without system getting hang or crash. So I repeat once again, swap is called the logical memory. So it is required to install the swap partition to have a good performance of your system, because what the swap will do, whenever we do the multiple tasks and there is no free space left out in the RAM, generally the system will get crash. To avoid that, we need to create the swap partition at the time of installation of the Linux OS. So what will happen, whenever we are doing the multiple tasks and in the RAM there is no free space, so what the swap will do, automatically it will take the idle or sleeping memory. Idle or sleeping memory means the task which have been completed, still it is you occupying the space of the RAM. So those idle memory or sleeping memories the swap will take into its space, thereby it will create the free space in the RAM. So your system will not get crash. The free space will be created in the RAM when we do the multiple tasks. So this will be done by the swap by taking the inactive or sleeping memory, so that our system will not get crash. In Windows this concept is there, but it takes the space from the paging file. But here we are giving the space directly from the partition using this app. So this is much better compared to the paging file. The work is same. So that is the reason now Linux is called as more stable and more secure, because we are installing the Linux OS on multiple partitions. Like whenever you install your OS, Windows OS also, your Windows OS will get installed what, on a single drive, on a single drive. So suppose, what is the advantage of creating the OS in multiple partition, I'll tell you. Suppose this is my Windows OS. So my Windows OS is there on my C drive, but I have created some drives like D drive, E drive. So now suppose my Windows get corrupted, whether my D drive and E drive will be lost. Now suppose due to any reason my OS got corrupted, whether my D drive and E drive will be lost? No. So whatever data I have kept in my D drive and E drive will be there as it is, even when my OS get lost due to any reason. But I cannot see this D and E drive, so I need to install one new OS, Windows. So once I install the OS, again I can able to access my D drive and E drive where my important data is there. So whether I lost any data, no. So that's why what is always recommended, when you do the installation, when you do the installation, during the installation, if it is possible, you create the multiple partition while doing the OS installation, for OS installation partition, which is not possible in Windows. So in Windows, the C drive will contain many folders. Like yesterday we discussed important folder, Windows, which contain the data related with the operating system, program file which contain the installed application, then users which contain a separate folder, administrator which contain administrator created data, and all users data will be stored in users. For each and every user one folder will be created, same like in Linux. In Linux it will be created in slash home, whereas in Windows, so now if any one of the OS folder get corrupted like users, the complete OS will get corrupted. But my data which is there, so this is not OS related data, D drive, E drive, my personal data will be stored, will be restored, or will be there even if my OS is get lost, Windows OS. So when I install new Windows OS, what will happen, my D drive and E drive data I can access it with, I will not lose this data. but my Windows data will be gone if one of the OS folder get corrupted. So in Linux, what we will do? In Linux, what we will do? So in Linux, what we will do? Whenever we install the Linux OS, whenever we install the yes, Avinash, you are right. Root. Whenever we say root, I told you yesterday also. You should be clear about these three things: slash, slash root, and slash home. Slash is a root directory. But when we say only root, you can say tree structure directory which contain Linux OS. So the super user or administrator name account in Linux and Unix is root user. So when we say root user, it is a administrator. Yes. When we say only root directory means we are talking about the slash which contain Linux OS. Okay. Are you following? Everyone. If you are following, we'll proceed with the installation of Linux. So can I proceed? Okay. So now so whenever we install the Linux OS, the recommended thing is what? You need to install. You need to install minimum how many partitions when we are installing the Linux OS? Recommended thing is minimum four partition we should create. Four partition we should create. So out of that four partition, three common partitions will be there. Three common partitions will be there. What are those three common partitions? Slash, slash boot, and swap. Then the fourth partition should be depending upon your requirement, which type of server you are creating, that you have to create. Like for user management, slash home. Now for the database server, slash temporary. For syslog server, slash var. Like this. Different type of server, different type of file system is important. These three will be common. For, for user management server, slash home is important. For database servers, slash temporary is important. For syslog server, slash var. So we'll create slash var for syslog server. For database server, slash temp will create. For user base management server, we'll have to create slash home. Are you following? So we do the when we do the installation of the Linux. Now suppose if our, where the Linux OS will be there, slash home. So when the slash home get corrupted, now suppose due to any reason our Linux OS got corrupted, slash. When we created the four partition, now whether we lose the user's data for us. So in user management data, which data is important? Users data. So when we created the user based management server, if our OS got lost due to any reason, where the OS will be there, slash home. Sorry, slash. If the slash got lost, then we have to reinstall suppose the OS. We can reinstall. But my slash home will be there because it is there in the separate partition. So while installing the OS, minimum how many partitions we are creating in the Linux? Four partition. So my user based data server was what? So slash home. So my slash home was in the separate partition. So like when we created C, D, E drive, my C drive got lost, OS is lost, but my D drive and E drive data is safe. So same way, this is here how many partitions? While installing the Linux OS, I have created four partitions. One partition I created slash, second partition slash boot, third partition slash home, and fourth swap. Now my OS is lost. So whether my data of the users will be lost? No, it will be not lost because it is in the other partition. So even when the OS is lost, our data of the users will not be lost for in the user management that server. So that's why we have created multiple partitions. So can we create the Windows OS installation on multiple partition? Like can we give the one separate partition to C drive, one separate partition to the Windows folder, one separate partition to the program file? Can we do like that in Windows? No. So everything is there on a single partition. If one thing get corrupted, the complete OS will be lost. So you will not able to have the user's data back. But here We are creating separate partition for important folders, important subdirectory. Main directory slash, these are the subdirectory. For each and every subdirectory which is important, we are creating separate partition. So here, if one of the OS folder get corrupted, it will not affect the complete OS, and whatever important data is there, it will be there in the separate partition. So even in worst case, if even the OS is lost, we will not lose the important subdirectory data because it will be there in other partition. So that is the reason most of the server now are on working on the Linux. So the structure wise it is safe, and when we do the installation, the stability is very good, and the Linux allow us, the installation of Linux allow us to install the Linux OS. While installing the OS, we will install the Linux OS on multiple partitions. So what is the advantage of that? When any one of the OS folder get corrupted, it will affect only which partition get corrupted. That only will get affected without affecting the complete OS. And even if the complete OS is got lost, we can able to, will not lose the data in other partition because that is created from the other. So I hope you are getting. So that is the reason now. That is the reason now most of the servers are working on the Linux. So now shall we proceed? Shall we proceed now with the installation? Okay, fine. So now we'll go with the installation. So I'll show you. So now we will be suppose working on the user database management server. So we need to create minimum how many partition? 4 partition. If you are creating database server, 4 partitions. 4 partitions. So now 4 partitions should be this. Slash boot and swap will be common. We need to create a separate partition for slash temp. Okay. So now if you want to create syslog server, you need to create slash var. So these are the things. Now we will proceed with the user management. Suppose we are configuring the user management server. So we need to create how many partitions? 4 partitions. So what are those 4 partitions we need to create? Slash boot slash home swap. Whereas this is the OS installation partition. After the installation, further whenever we want, we can create the further partitions. So this comes under MBR. So first 3 partitions will be your primary. So first 3 partitions will be a primary partition. Fourth partition will be created automatically, and that is called extended partition. So first 3 partitions will be primary. Fourth one will be created default extended, and our fourth will become the fifth partition. So this is called the extended partition can be divided into number of partitions. Those are called logical partitions. Those are called logical partitions. So first 3 will be primary, remember. Fourth one will be created default as extended, and the extended can be divided into number of drives which are called logical drives. So this comes under MBR, master boot recorder partition table. So after creating the 4 partition, whatever space we are allocating to our OS, whatever free space is left out, that space can be utilized to create further partitions. Okay, so that is the why the Linux structure is more stable and more safe. That is the reason most of the servers are working on Linux. Now we will proceed with the installation. So you can go to the Linux installation. So here, so I am giving you, if you have the VMware, there is no problem. You can download the VMware from the Google, or I have VMware 15th version. I'm having VMware 15th version with the crack key. So I'm giving you in the chat box. So what you have to do, so how we will be installing this Linux OS? How we will be installing the Linux OS? You might be having your desktop or the laptop. On that, generally we will have what? Windows OS. So like in my case, I'm having Windows OS. Which OS? Windows 10. Windows 10 OS is there. This is client operating system. Now I want to install the Linux OS. So how it will be possible? So first, what we have to do on our Windows operating system, we need to install one application. Which application? Virtualization application. Like most of the people are using what? VMware. Similar to VMware, you have VirtualBox. Yes. So better features and simplicity is there in VMware. So what do you have to do for doing this Linux administration course? You have to first install the first you have to install the VMware workstation. So to install the VMware workstation, what I did, I have downloaded the VMware 15th version, and you should also what you have to do, download the VMware. So I kept I kept the VMware workstation in my Google Drive, and I'm giving you the link. I downloaded the VMware and I copied this VMware in my Google Drive. Now I created one Google Drive link where I'm giving permission to everybody to download from my Google Drive link. So this is my Google Drive link from where you can download the VMware 15th version with the crack key. I'm giving you the crack key also. So what you have to do, you go to the just you go to this link, type this type this link or copy this link and paste it in the URL of your browser. Then once you press enter, you will go to my Google Drive link where you can see my VMware 15th version. You can download it. So once you download it, what you have to do, you have to install the VMware. So how to install it? Just go double click on the VMware which you have downloaded. Then just go with the next. How we will do most of the time in Windows, just same next. Then install. So it will get installed. After installing, it will ask one key. So that key I am giving to you. So this key you just give it, then the VMware will get installed. So once the VMware get installed, you will find one icon on your desktop, like I downloaded the VMware and install it. Now same VMware I am giving you from my Google Drive link. So what you have to do, I am giving you this in your chat box. I'm putting this on the chat box, so all of you just copy this link and paste it in some notepad or wordpad, because once I close the session, chat box content will be lost. So what you have to do, you go to your chat box. Now I'm pasting this in the chat box. So you copy this VMware link and the key which I have given to you. All of you please copy this and paste it on some notepad or wordpad of your desktop or on the whatever laptop or whatever you are using. Copy this link. So today what you have to do, go to this link, download the VMware. After downloading the VMware, you need to install the VMware. So once the VMware is installed, you can create one virtual machine. On that virtual machine, you can install the Linux OS. So without disturbing your physical machine, what you have to do, just install the VMware. So first to install the VMware, you have to download the VMware. After downloading the VMware, you install the VMware. So once the VMware is installed, you will get one icon on your desktop like this, which I have done. So now from this, you have to create the virtual machine. So how to create the virtual machine and install the Linux OS, I'll show you. And once you have done the VMware, you need second thing. What is the second thing? Which OS you want to download? Suppose you want to work on RHEL7. You can go from the Google. I want to download RHEL7 free version or trial version. It will show you some path. From there you can download. I I have downloaded what? CentOS 7. So from which link I have downloaded, or from which link you can download the CentOS 7, I'm giving you the three links. So out of that you can go to the any one of the link. Now I'm giving you the operating system which you need to download. So which OS you want to work? CentOS 7. So suppose. So you go to this link. I'm giving you the three links. I'm giving you the three links. You can go to any one of this link. I'm giving you the three links. I think I have another link here for, okay, three links. Four links I have. Some student has given me another link. So these are the four links I'm giving you. So all of you please copy this link from where you can download the CentOS 7. So I'm pasting that 4 links, and when you are downloading the OS, you can download RHL 7 or CentOS 7. Both are exactly same, remember. So while downloading this OS, please make sure that your OS size should be between 4 to 5 GB. Don't download less than 3 GB or less than 4 GB. And don't download too large also, like 6 GB, 8 GB, 10 GB, because different size version is available. For our practical purpose, to do all the practical, our Linux OS should be between 4 to 5 GB is enough. So I'm giving you this link, and I'll request you, those persons who able to download and have good knowledge about downloading, you download it. And if you can create after downloading, you just copy this or upload this your downloaded OS on your Google Drive and create one Google Drive link. And if you can give that link to me tomorrow, it will be helpful for remaining people. So I'll request the persons who has good knowledge about downloading, you download the OS from the link which I have given to you, because some people will find difficult, they are working first time. So what I request you, because in my Google Drive there is no link, sorry, there is no free space left out, that's why I did not created the Google Drive link for the OS. So what
So
I'll
can you
suggest
please
you, don't
repeat
download
the
this
whole
John,
process again?
you download the OS today, CentOS 7 or RHL 7, whatever you create one, upload your, upload after downloading the OS, Linux OS, you upload that to your Google Drive. After uploading your Linux operating system to your Google Drive, you create one Google Drive link and give the full access and give me that link tomorrow, so that I can share that link with the rest of the people so that they can easily download it. I hope you are following me, all of you, Prashant, Koteshwar Rao, Lokesh, and Avinash. Any one of you,
Sir,
please
sir, can you please repeat
create
the
Google
process?
Drive
Like,
link for the OS. Will you do,
sir,
anybody?
sir,
At least by tomorrow or day after tomorrow? Just upload that your OS which you are downloaded to your Google Drive link.
sir,
Yes,
hello. Sir, from
yes.
VMware, can you please repeat again just what has to be done from VMware?
See, I said, if you want to install the Linux OS, already you are using suppose Windows machine. So you don't install the Linux OS on your VMware machine. So what you have to do, first, you have to use the virtualization technique. Virtualization means on one physical machine, we can create multiple virtual machine. So for that purpose, you have to install one application. That application name is here what? VMware. So on Windows machine, you install the VMware. So how to install the VMware? I given you one link. I created one Google Drive link and I given you the link. So this is the link from my Google Drive, because that is a small application. So I created what? One Google Drive link here, and I given you the link with the key. So you copy this link and paste it in the URL of your browser. You will go to my Google Drive link. You will have the option download. You download it. After downloading the VMware, double click on that VMware, just go with next. It will get installed. While installing, it will ask the key. You give the key. So VMware will get installed. After installing the VMware, one icon will appear on your desktop. Is it clear? Is it clear, Lokesh?
Yes, sir. Now, up till now, I understood VMware for it is for
Now, Avinash,
different
you
systems.
are also clear what you have to do first? Avinash. So first on your desktop or laptop, you have to first download the VMware. From where you can download the VMware? I given you the link. Have you copied, all of you, the link? Have you copied the link which I have given you, VMware link with the heading? Or shall I put it again? You have copied? Yes means, like Avinash, you should write the answer. Yes, copied means I will not get confusion. Or if you want me to paste once again, I'll paste it. Yes, others. Prashant, Koteshwar, copied. Oh, okay, very nice. Uh, Lokesh, you are Koteshwar, sorry. Koteshwar, you are not replying. Are you there? Are you following? Koteshwar Rao? Because you have never replied. Are you understanding or not? Please tell me. Okay. So now after that, what I have done, I given you the link of the CentOS 7, which is exactly same as RHL 7. So that link also I have given you. That link also I have given you. So whether you have copied that link, I have given you 4 links. So from any one of these 4 links, you have to download the CentOS 7. Once these two things are ready, you can proceed with the installation. Now what I was telling you, or what I was requesting you, who is good with the downloading, what you do, once you download the OS, you upload your Linux operating system OS to your Google Drive. I think everybody knows how to upload it. Upload your OS to your Google Drive. Then create one Google Drive link and give the full access. And give me that link tomorrow, so that others others who are not able to download it, they can just go to that Google Drive link which you have created, or which you will be creating, so they can easily download it. Did you understood, everybody? So will you, any one of you, will you create the Google Drive link for the OS? Because in my Google Drive link, I don't have much space left out. That's why I did not put it in my Google Drive. So will you do, out of 4 of you, anybody will do that by tomorrow or day after tomorrow? So Avinash, if you have a MacBook, then you cannot install the VMware. MacBook will not suggest. So you search in the Google, you will have, in place of the VMware, you will have what? The Fuse. Some application is there with the name Fuse. You can use, in place of that VMware, you can use the Fuse also. Or if you are comfortable with VirtualBox, you can continue with the VirtualBox. So now tomorrow, anybody out of you four, Lokesh, Prashant, Koteshwar Rao, Avinash, anybody will just upload this OS after downloading on your Google Drive link and give me that Google Drive link, so that others can do it very easily. Okay. Out of 4 of you, if anybody does, it will be good. At least by tomorrow or day after tomorrow, you do it and give me that link. Or if you don't have the time, at least by Sunday you do it and give me that on Monday. Okay. So shall I proceed now? It is clear to everybody up to now? If it is clear, we'll proceed with the installation. So first, what you have to do, install the VMware on your laptop. Don't install the Linux directly. First, create one, install one application like VirtualBox or VMware, whatever you are comfortable. Okay, then after that, you have to download the OS. You have to download the OS. Which OS? Linux OS. So which Linux version we are using? RHL 7. So we are using RHL 7 through the CentOS 7, because both are exactly same. Everything, installation to command, everything is same. For CentOS, there is no license key required, and in Windows, license key is required, but in Linux, license key is not required. But the Red Hat people are giving their OS free, but they are also providing you the support. For that, they are charging. Whereas in CentOS, everything is free, but no support. We have to manage ourselves. So we are using this OS for training purpose. So we don't require any support. So we are using the CentOS in place of RHL. Is it clear? Whether I'm clear to everyone? So you have to download the VMware, install the VMware on your laptop or the desktop, whatever you are using. After that, you need to download the CentOS 7 from the link which I have given. While downloading the OS, you see that your OS size is between 4 GB to 5 GB. That OS size you download. Once you downloaded it, now you can do the installation of the Linux OS. So for that, you need to first create one virtual machine using the VMware. How to create a virtual machine using the VMware, I'll show you. So can I proceed if it is clear? Huh. So what is the problem when you do the dual booting is that if anything is happen in the dual booting, what will happen? Both OS will get affected. But VMware, in the VMware, those problem is not there. If anything happens onto your virtual machine, it doesn't affect your physical machine. So this is called your physical machine OS. Like Windows 10 is my physical machine. On my physical machine, I install Windows 10. This is called my physical OS. This is called my physical OS. So on my physical OS, I install one application, VMware. Now, whatever I'm going to do through the VMware will not affect anything on my Windows machine or my physical machine. And in the dual booting, how many OS you can install? Only two OS. But when you are doing the Linux at the last, we will be creating what? One more OS we required. Because when we are working on the network administration part, we need to create our servers like DHCP server, DNS server, Apache server, FTP server, NFS server, Samba server. So your server is working or not. How do you check it? You need another machine. So if you are using the suppose only dual booting, how many OS you can use? Only two OS. But on my virtual machine, I can create multiple OS. So when you are starting the network administration part, you need two Linux operating system. So now can you install the two more operating system when you are using the dual booting? No. One is your Windows, one is Linux. One more Linux OS you require to check your practical whether it is working or not from when you configure the servers. Then how you'll do it? So that's why nobody is using now dual booting, because in virtual machine or when you are using the VMware, you can create n number of virtual machine and simultaneously you can run. But here in dual booting, you can run only one OS. When you are using the Windows, you cannot run Linux. I hope you understood now, Lokesh, why we should use the VMware in place of dual booting.
Yes, sir.
Yes, if it is clear to you, I'll proceed with the installation. So today we'll do the installation of the Linux OS. Yes, all of you are comfortable, clear? So shall I begin the installation? Okay, nice. So now let us see the installation. So for that, you have to install the VMware. How to install the VMware? First download it and just double click on the next install. It will get installed. So after installing, the VMware icon will appear on your desktop. Simultaneously you need to download the RHL7 or CentOS 7, which I have given you the link. So already I downloaded in the D drive. So I kept it in my D drive. See here, my OS is there here. I downloaded the CentOS 7 here. So can you see here, CentOS 7? So when these two things are ready, you can proceed with the installation. Now we'll proceed with the installation. So first, for installing the Linux OS or any OS, first you need to create one virtual machine through the VMware. So now we will see how to create a how to create a virtual machine through the VMware. So first you download the VMware and install it. After installing the VMware, you create one virtual machine through the VMware. How to create a virtual machine through the VMware, I'm showing you. Now just double click on the VMware which you have installed. Now create a virtual machine. So how to create a virtual machine, you see here. So once you install the VMware and double click on the VMware, you will get this window. So what is our requirement? We want to create one new virtual machine. So see here, I have using so many virtual machine for different batches. So if it I'm using the dual booting, can I use this many OS? No. So just give me a minute. My battery got low. I'll connect the charger. Okay, I've connected it. Now say suppose you want to create one new virtual machine through the VMware. double click on your VMware, you will get this window. Now create one new virtual machine. How to create it? Click on, our requirement is create a virtual machine. So click on here, create a new virtual machine. Then here you will get two options, typical and custom. So just select the typical. So it will take, so to create any virtual machine, you require RAM size, processor memory and hard disk. So when you use the typical option, it will take 1 GB of RAM by default. So use the typical and it will take the required processor memory from our machine with the help of the our Windows OS. Our physical OS is Windows OS. Now here three options will be there. So use the third option. I will install the operating system later. By default in the VMware second option will be there. So if you proceed with the second option, you cannot install the Linux OS on multiple partition. So we need to install our Linux OS on multiple partitions. So for that, you use the third option. I will install the operating system. So first open the VMware, then select a default typical, then here by default second option will be there. So you select the third option. I will install the operating system. So use the third option. I will install the operating system. Then go with what? Next. After selecting the third option, I will install the operating system later. Go with the next option. Now here it will ask you. So by default here will be the option Windows. Are you installing the Windows OS or Linux OS? So you want to install VMware, Linux OS. So select here Linux. In place of Windows, Microsoft Windows, select Linux. In Linux, which OS you have downloaded? CentOS 7 or RHEL 7. So many options are there. Ubuntu. So which OS we are working? Most of the servers are on RHEL. So equivalent of RHEL is CentOS 7. Completely free. No loan. Completely free. There is no license key, or they are not asking even any money. Completely free, but no support. Remember. Then, then here which version? CentOS, which you have downloaded, 7th. Then click on next. Then here you can give any name to your machine. Even after installation also you can change the name. Now where it is getting installed? In the C drive. But instead of C drive, you can install in C drive or wherever you want. Suppose I have free space in my E drive, so I can go there and install it. So here you can create one folder as per your requirement. Linux. Suppose this is a morning batch, so I can write Linux 6:30 batch like that. Like this, anything I can write it to understand myself. One folder is created. Then next. So here it is taking 20 by default. So you can use that space and proceed. You can use that space and proceed. Next, finish. Then click on finish. So one virtual machine is created. Now, once you have created this virtual machine, what happens? What happens? You need to power on. But before power on, you have to give the path. Otherwise, your OS will not get installed. So you have to give the path. You are installing this OS from where? So you go to the edit virtual machine. Before you power on, don't forget. After creating the virtual machine, you click on edit or virtual machine. Then we are installing this OS through the CD or DVD or through ISO image, So select the CD DVD option. Under that you will get the option use ISO image. So before you power on, please remember, click on edit the virtual machine. Click on edit the virtual machine. Then select here CD DVD. Select here CD DVD. Under that you will find the option use ISO image. Then click on browse. Where you have kept your ISO image, you go there. I kept here CentOS 7. So select it and say open. Now given the path. Now say open. Are you following? Are you following everybody? How to create the virtual machine? So till now, whatever we have done is the creation of the virtual machine. Installation will happen now. So if you are clear, I'll proceed with the installation. Yes, everybody. Avinash, Koteshwar, Prashant, Lokesh. Yes, it is okay for everybody. Understood how to create virtual machine? Okay, fine. So all of you please respond like Avinash is responding. Yes, very nice Koteshwar. Now you are responding so that I can understand. Yes, fine. Very nice. So now once you are done with this, what you have to do? Click on OK. Now virtual machine is created. So till now we haven't started the Linux installation. We have made the machine ready. See here. Now 1 GB RAM is taken, one processor memory is allocated 20. So now it is taking these required resources from our Windows operating system. This is the virtual machine. Now click on power on. Power on. Now the installation can be started. Now for this, which option is highlighting? Test this media and install the OS. So this option will be highlighting when we are doing the installation through the DVD. But now nobody is using the DVD. We are installing through the ISO image. So use your up arrow key on your keyboard. Using the up arrow key on your keyboard, you go to the first option. Now which option is highlighting? CentOS 7. By default, second option will be highlighting. So on your keyboard, you have the up arrow mark. So press the up arrow mark. So first option will be highlighted. Now press enter on the highlighted option, that is install the CentOS 7. Exactly same will be there for RHL 7 also. Now press enter. Press enter. Now OS will get start loading. Now this is the installation steps of the Linux OS. Now first, like in any operating system, it will ask us the language, which language you want to use while doing the installation. So whichever language you are comfortable, you select it. So many languages are there. So I'm going with the default English. Then say continue. First select the language, which language you want to use the. Okay, so there is some bug in the OS. So I need to come out, delete this virtual machine. So I'll be deleting this virtual machine. How to delete it? Just don't power on. Click on that, right click, manage, and delete from disk. So whatever size we allocated, it will come back. Now again, I'll create one new virtual machine fast. My OS might be got corrupted. Then same steps, I'm doing. So one folder is created. In the E drive. Okay, one folder I'm creating. It's got created, but the name is not correct. Okay, let it be. Okay. Now I'm creating one folder in the E drive. Okay. Then next 20 GB is enough. Finish. So before I proceed with this, go to the edit. Now we are installing through the CD DVD using the ISO image. I have another image here that might got corrupted, so I'm going to my desktop. On my desktop also one image is there, CentOS 7. I'll select that. Okay. Now let us do the installation. Proceed by power on. Then select the first option using the up arrow key. Then again press enter. Now same, first we have to select the language to start the installation. So up to this we have done. Now see here, uh, are we getting highlighted begin installation? No, it is not highlighting because we need to configure these things as per our requirement. So how to proceed? So first click on this option, date and time. So here by default, which date and time is selected? America, New York. So we want Indian date and time. So you can change from here, but it will take more time. So use the map. So if you want India time, don't go inside the India map, just be right side. So it will be selected. Now it is in 12 hours. If you want, you select this option. If you want 24 hours, you select this option. Now date and time is selected as per our requirement. Then click on done. So first option is over. Now after the installation, what language you want to use? English. No, you don't want English means you click on plus. So many languages are there. Even Hindi, Marathi, Telugu, so many options are there. I'm going with the English. Say okay, done. Now here, whatever you have done, it is updated here. Don't do anything here. Whatever you selected here, it is updated. Now we have done date and time and keyboard. I hope you are understanding this. Now next important thing is software installation. So here under the software installation, what is the minimum, what is the option selected here? Minimal install. So don't do anything here. Whatever you do here, it will be reflected here. So click on software installation. So what is there here? Option minimal install. So if you proceed with this option after the installation, you can work only in the text mode. Minimal install means you can work only in text mode. So what you have to do? Go to the software installation. Then by default option here is minimal install. So select here either server with GUI or Genome desktop. So here you can select only one option. So best option is either you select server with GUI or Genome desktop. So what is the advantage with this is that after the installation you can work in text mode as well as graphical. But we mostly work with the command. So better option is where we can use our mouse also. So either you use server with GUI or Genome desktop. If you go with the minimal install, you can work only with the text mode, that is black screen, and you cannot use your mouse. So better you select here while doing this installation, only one option can be selected, not more than one. So select either server with GUI or Genome desktop. Then say done. No need of that right side, it will be selected automatically. Now it will take few seconds for update. You have to wait. Now it is updated. Don't do anything here. Just go to the software selection and select your Genome desktop. Then say done. So it will take updated from here to there. Now still here begin installation is not highlighting. So now what you can do, you can click here installation destination to create multiple partition. of the Linux OS installation should be created in multiple partitions. So what is the advantage? When one of our OS folder get corrupted also, still our data which is there in other drive will be safe and secure, which will be not possible in Windows. So click on installation destination. Then go to the second option, I will configure. If you use the first option, your OS installation will be done in two partitions. After the installation, you cannot create further partition. So you have to create minimum 4 partition. So for that, you have to go with I will configure partitioning. So click on installation destination, then go to the second option, I will configure partitioning. Then click on done. Now here, we have a session regarding LVM. So what is LVM? Most of the people might not be knowing. So we have a session where we will be completely discussing about what is LVM. So by default here, OS installation is selected default LVM. What is the advantage of that? When you do the OS installation through LVM partition, whenever you want to resize your partition, that also you can do. But now today you might not be knowing the OS about the LVM. So you install your Linux OS on standard partition. Once you know about the LVM, you can install your OS through the LVM process. So what is the advantage of LVM? Whenever you are installing your OS through the LVM partition, if your OS size partition got used up, you can increase that space. That you cannot do through the standard partition. For that, we should know the LVM. So if you don't know the LVM, you just today you can proceed with standard partition. So under partitioning scheme, we are selecting standard partition, but default option is LVM. So we'll be discussing what is LVM in the coming day sessions. Then to create the partition, you click on plus. To create the partition, click on plus. Then go to the mount point. This window will appear. So now, yesterday we discussed this, today also we briefly discuss this. So when we install the Linux OS, where it will get installed? On root directory / directory. So give more than 5 GB size. You can give 6 GB, 7, 8, anything. I am giving 8 GB. So you have to write 8 GB because default it will take in MB. So if you write 8000 MB means it will GB, or directly you can write 8 GB. Add mount point. One partition is created. So inside the slash you have some important subdirectories. Like if you want to make sys server, so first two partitions should be common, // boot, because through this it will load the OS. So now /boot require 100 MB space, so I'm giving 200. If you give more than that, nothing will happen. So did I write any MB GB? No, so it will take default MB. So these two partitions should be common in every OS installation of the Linux. So when you use the default option, these two will be created. But I want to make syslog server, then I need to take what? Where. If I want to make the database server, then I can select here what? I can create my own name also, /temp. I want to make the application server, then I can use sysusr. I want to make a user database server, then I can select here /home. Based on our requirement, which type of server you want, you can. So I'm giving him for lab purpose 2 GB is more than enough. In real time, it will be 20 GB, 20 TB like that. Over. How many partitions created? 3 partitions. So these are OS related partition. But to improve my system performance, we have to select here also. If you want more than 3 also you can go, but minimum 4 you have to have. More than 4 also you can do. Then swap partition. So swap partition recommended size is double the size of the RAM allocated is 1 GB, so you can give 2 GB. Still if you want to increase, you can increase after installation also. How to do that? We have a swap function class, in that we will be discussing. So how many partitions created? 4. So if it is enough for you, it's okay. If you want more, you can create more. So out of 20, 12 is used up. How much is free? Roughly 8 GB is free. So after the installation of the Linux OS, still this 8 GB also you can use to create further partitions. So how to create on this free space 8 GB, how to create further partitions, we will be discussing in disk management class. Okay. So now your first 3 partitions will become primary. Fourth one will be created automatically in MBR. That will become extended. So Then in the extended, the logical partition or logical drive in the form of SAB will be created. And remaining free space, we can create multiple logical partition. How to create? We will be discussing that in disk management after the installation. Now 4 partition is enough for you. So you can proceed with what? Done. Once your recommended partitions are created, you can go with the done. Now it will ask you if you want to cancel the installation, you can cancel. Now you want to proceed means you have to accept the changes. Now begin installation is highlighting. Now please remember, don't do anything here. Whatever you do here, it will be updated. Then after that, if you want to give some system name to your machine, you can give. So now here host name. Host name, it is taking by default what name? Localhost. So you want to give some name, server 1, server 2, something like this, or sys1, any name you can give, or server 1, any name you can give, or server, it is your wish. So the name is given. The name is given. Then after that, what you have to do? The LAN card. So we are working through the VMware. So every virtual machine need to have one LAN card. So our VMware will allocate one LAN card name to it. So by default it is off. So on this LAN card, you want to give some IP, you click here on configure. You click on configure. Now here the Ethernet name is this one, and you want to assign some IP. You want to assign some IP while creating this OS. You can assign the IP. So which IP you are working? IP version 4. So select the LAN card and go to the IP version 4. Now which type of IP you want to assign? Manual or DHCP. So whether on the servers we have to give static IP. So IP can be assigned by two methods, static and dynamic. Dynamic means through DHCP server. So whether we configure any DHCP server till now, no. And generally on the servers we have to give the static IP. So select here under IP version 4, you go to the manual. On the method you select method manual. Now you can give the static IP. So now to give the IP, what option is highlighting? Add. Now you can click on add and give the IP address. So we are working on private network 192.168 1 dot. Suppose I am giving 1. Then subnet mask. What is the subnet mask you want to add? Oh, okay. Another IP it has taken. So let me delete. Now I want to add the IP. So here I'm adding the IP. Okay, it is going to the DNS. Okay. So I'm adding one IP 192.168 1.1. One IP is assigned. Then go to the subnet mask. So what will be the subnet mask for this? 255.255.255 for class C. 3 networks, 1 host. So this will be the subnet mask. Default gateway means router IP address. Any router we have connected? No. So I'm leaving this as it is. Now any DNS I have configured? No. Now once we have done it, you need to make it on. So click on on. So what it is saying, it is not available. Okay, just okay, let me go to the configure again. Our LAN card is there. Then I'm going to the IP version. Here selecting the automatic manual. Then I'm giving the IP address by adding. Now I'll give the IP address 1.1. Then I can give the subnet mask 255 255.255.255.0. Gateway is not required. Then click on uh, one is enough for me. So now, uh, what I need to do here, done. Now, after that, it is off. So let me make it on. IP is not accepting. Just 1 second. Okay, I'm not getting the option save. Okay, okay, then I'll click on save, then on. Okay, it has saved it. Okay, now once I have done this, okay, go to the done. Then begin the installation. Now what you have to do? Begin the installation. So installation is complete. It started now. So here, whenever OS get installed, one user will be created default. That is the administrator account. So in Linux, the administrator name is root. So you have to set the password. So whatever password you want to set, you just can click on the root password. You can give your name as a password. I'm giving Red Hat. You can give in your case your name, but don't forget. If you forget, you can reset, but for that lengthy process is there. So by default, it will ask 8 character, but if you use the 6 also, no problem, or 1 character. Even you can give 1 character as a password, it will accept. For that, you click on done twice. So whatever password you are giving, you write it somewhere, note it, or give your name as a password, which you can remember easily. Then while the installation is going on, you need to create one user compulsory. So create one user with any name, any password, 1 character also it will accept. Then click on done. So with this, the installation is completed. So once this is going on this process, so once this is completed, this many application, it will ask us to reboot. So if you don't have the time, what you can do, just click on here, suspended mode. Don't power off. While the installation is going on, if you power off, the OS will be lost. So if you don't have the time, you can keep in suspended mode. So when you have the time, you just can resume from there. So tomorrow we'll continue with what? We can just click on here and we can just resume it. Okay. So with this, we are done with today's session. So tomorrow we'll continue with what? After the installation, basic commands. Okay, tomorrow we'll continue that. So that's it for today. Thank you everybody. So those who understood the session, you can uh, you can leave for today. If you have any doubt, you can please ask me. You can unmute your mics and ask me. Yes.
Hello,
Yes, please
sir.
ask.
Sir, meanwhile we can't use Ubuntu.
See, in Ubuntu, how many features or applications you have in the Red Hat or in CentOS, that many you will not get. So Ubuntu is mostly used for home purpose, but this is enterprise Linux, which can be used on the servers on the companies. So that will have more features compared to the Ubuntu. When you are doing the user administration group, all those will work, but when you are starting the configuration of the server, there you may not get those features which you have in the Red Hat. So better you use the Red Hat, that is CentOS.
Okay, sir.
So the OS which we are using is Enterprise, which will be used in the industry companies.
Okay, sir.
So
Thank you.
Sir, sir,
yes,
sir, I need the recording of the today's class and previous class so that I can just see and then do. And I
okay.
just need to make notes. So, can you please
Hmm.
provide me with that?
See, I already told you,
Hmm.
you will be getting this recording. It has been uploaded to our YouTube. You know our YouTube site location. You
No,
can go there,
no,
and from there you
no,
can.
sir.
So if you go to our website, from there you can see on our YouTube channel this this classes recordings has been put. You can see from there. Otherwise, I'll give you a number.
So, can you please,
I'll give
can you please
one
tell me
number.
the,
Yes, please go ahead.
yes, sir, can you please tell me the YouTube channel?
See on your website name, if you go to our website, durgasoft.com,
Hmm.
there you will find our YouTube channel name also. From there you can see it. Or otherwise, you contact this number. She will guide you. So this is a number I'm writing it. You just call her. She will guide you for the recording. And once you make the payment on your Google Drive, every day
No,
this link
payment
will
has
be.
been done. Sir, payment
You are
has
done.
been done. Yes.
Who has done the payment? Uh, you, Lokesh.
Yes, it is 6,000 rupees, right?
Yes, you have done the payment.
Yes.
So this is the number I'm giving you. You contact her. I'm writing on the chat box. Just a second. 9246212143. So now once you call to her, she will guide you for the recording, and she will send you everyday recording on your Google Drive itself. So for recording, you can contact that number. After the session,
On
you
my
can just
Google
contact.
Drive.
Huh?
On my Google Drive.
They will send you on. They will create one Google Drive link, and every day it will be
Hmm.
sent to your Gmail ID account. You have to give the. You will be giving your detail account. You will be logging with some GID, no mail
Hmm.
ID. So on that they will send you.
Okay.
Otherwise, you contact this number. She will guide you everything.
Hmm. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Uh, yes. Anybody else? Any other problem or any other doubts? Okay. See, Avinash, this is the YouTube link you are saying. Okay. So from there, the
Yes,
video is
yeah.
there. Are you getting the recording?
Yeah. There is the YouTube link here. That's what I shared with the teammates.
Okay. 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 So then, Lokesh, you can just see that link if you are there. From that also is there. Or I given you that number.
Yes, sir.
And those who have, how many of you made the payment? Because tomorrow onwards we'll work on the OS. The installation is completed, so basics commands will be. So as soon as possible. Yes. Yes, sir. Can you just repeat? Your disturbance is there from your end. I'm not able to hear. Yes. So what about you, Avinash and Prashant Koteshwar? You also made the payment.
Sunil sir, this is Avnish, and yeah, I'm in
Yes.
the process of making the payment. Maybe today or tomorrow I will do that, and yeah, that's the plan.
Okay, because as quickly as you do, it will be better so that the recordings will be sent directly.
Yeah, yeah, sure, I will do that. Thank you.
And about Prashant, you will be making payment today. Please do it. And Koteshwar, what about you? Koteshwar, can you just update yourself? Okay, please do it. Okay. So, is there any doubt? Is there any doubt you have, anybody, or can I close the session?
Sir, I'm good from my end.
Okay, thank you. You are from which side? Your English is different, Avinash. I think you are Indian, but maybe you are from some other country by
Yeah,
your accent
yeah,
change.
exactly. Yeah, I'm in US. Yes.
Okay, US. What is the time now?
Right now it's 9,
Acha. So it's
9
good
at
for
night.
you.
Uh,
9 evening time. Here it is around 8:15 something in India. Okay,
yeah.
your accent has been changed completely. So you are from which place in India?
I'm from Madhya Pradesh.
Okay, okay, fine. How are you there? Fine, everything good?
Yeah, so far can complain.
Okay, fine. So what
Thank.
about others? Lokesh, Koteshwar, Prashant? Is it okay or do you have any doubt or can I close the session? Okay, so can I close the session? Can I close the session? Okay, so I'm closing the session. Thank you everybody. See you too. Okay, you are from Orissa, Lokesh. Okay, fine. And you, Prashant? Okay. Okay, I'm closing this session. Okay, you are from Andhra Pradesh, Prashant. Okay, what about you, Koteshwar? Okay, you are also from Andhra Pradesh. Okay, fine. So nice meeting you, all of you. So I'm closing this session. Thank you, everybody. See you tomorrow.